The top 10 big ship crashes. The ocean became the mute witness as these big ship cruises sank and lies on the deep abyss of the ocean. In this video, we will be showing the top 10 big ship crashes. A sea tragedy is an unforeseen and painful event. Maritime and nautical engineering may provide logical explanations for the sea tragedy, but still, the fact remains that the debris of these ships are now on the bottom of the sea. Before we go any further, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and smash that like button for more quality videos you can certainly get from others. You don't want to miss this, as the channel gives you the latest informative details, and here is the top 10 big ship crashes. Number 10. SS Andrea Doria. Floating art gallery was oftentimes being used to refer to SS Andrea Doria, for it is considered as one of the most beautiful and luxurious ships during its era. It has a wide array of paintings, tapestries, and murals, and it gives an ambience of being in an art gallery. Equipped with enough recreational facilities, such as having 3 outdoor swimming pools on its deck, it's equally prepared when it comes to modern technology for safety measures, for it has 2 radar screens. At that time, it was considered as a novel technology in the maritime world. You won't believe what happens when a fully equipped radar ship will sink due to heavy log and misreading of radar. It's considered as the world's first radar-assisted collision that happened on July 1950. It was the ill-fated collision between SS Andrea Doria to the eastbound Swedish passenger liner Stockholm. The proximate cause of the collision was due to the thick fog and the misreading of the radar. The collision happened in the near coast of Nantucket, Massachusetts, while heading to New York City. It claimed the lives of 52 people, and around 1,660 people were rescued, that earned its mark as the largest civilian maritime rescue in history. Now it lies on the 240 feet of water in the northern Atlantic, and the divers have exclaimed that it's the Mount Everest of divers. Number 9. MS Estonia. What really happened to the largest ship flying the flag of Baltic Republic that sails on the night of September 27, 1994? The tragedy had cost the lives of around 852 people, and most of them died drowning. The silent deaths of these victims had been screaming for years as authorities of Estonia, Sweden, and Finland finally made their conclusion as to the cause of the shipwreck. Based on the findings, they arrived on the conclusion that it was a bow visor that failed and paved the way to the flooding of the car deck. In 1995, to put the souls to eternal rest, the governments of Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Poland, Denmark, Russia, UK, and Sweden had signed a treaty that made the site of the marine grave to be strictly off-limits for the explorations of divers. Henrik Evertsson, a Swedish documentary filmmaker, was not convinced, as he said, "We do not speculate and we draw no conclusion." With a chartered plane that flies a German flag, the only country that did not sign the treaty went to the marine grave site and sent down a camera, which may be similar to a drone, to explore the ill-fated ship, and they found out a huge hole to the side of the ship that may have been the real cause of the sinking of the ship. With the new discovery, the different countries are now making a re-investigation that may put an end to the mystery of the ill-fated ship. Number 8. RMS Empress of Ireland. This sea tragedy had claimed the number of lives with the famous Titanic. It's considered as the worst maritime disaster in Canada due to poor visibility caused by a thick fog. This Canadian ocean liner had a collision with Norwegian collier on the ill-fated day of May 29, 1914, and sank on St. Lawrence River. The tragedy had claimed the lives of 1,012, mostly passengers. Due to the inconsistencies of the testimony of the witnesses, the investigation may not be seen as conclusive. However, the owner of RMS Empress had received a resounding $2 million as a court award for damages. Number 7. The Queen Anne's Revenge. You'll be surprised what happened when an 18th century warship was captured and manned by a pirate. The legendary pirate known as Blackbeard, Edward Teach, captained this ship for less than a year, and eventually in 1718, he grounded the ship, and to avoid being captured by the British government, he abandoned the ship. Though there were several archaeological findings as to the remains of this ship, such as the 31 cannons, million artifacts discovered, but still, the mystery lives on as to the cause of the sinking of the ship, and it's considered as one of the events that is beyond the record of history. Number 6. VASA. Considered as the world's technologically advanced warship, this warship has been classified by Eric Kessler as the most spectacular warship ever built. Aside from being technologically advanced, the ship was also beautifully designed by wood carvings that reflect the story of the royal family. You'll be surprised what happened when it was sunk by a gust of wind and nowhere near on the shores of its enemy's territory. The horrified sinking of the ship was witnessed by spectators in 1968, as the spectators viewed Europe's most ambitious warship was sinking slowly down to the bottom of the sea. It may be technologically advanced, however, it was not able to survive the gust of wind that made it sink and claimed the lives of 30 people. There were some speculations that the ship may be unstable, for it was carrying at that time 74 cannons. But still, such a claim still needs to be proven. There could be some problems with maritime engineering, but still, the very story of how and why it sank will now go down to the very abyss of the ocean and forever be forgotten. Number 5. The Mary Rose. The name may be sweet, but this warship had served the English Navy for almost 33 years, battling on the shores with France, Scotland, and Britain. It's the English warship that was commissioned by King Henry VIII. As to the sweet name of the ship, it has been linked to the Tudor's rose, which is the emblem of the House of Tudor. However, there was also a claim that it can be the name of the favorite sister of the king, Mary Tudor. Whatever be the inspiration of the name, but still, the fact remains that this warship was considered as one of the mighty warships. It had won and survived several battles and had undergone several repairs, but finally, its strength succumbed during the Battle of the Solent on July 19, 1545. Based on the account of the eyewitnesses, after the warship fired at the French fleet and as it tried to turn when it had been taken by the gust of wind. Unfortunately, the cannon openings were not closed, leading for the water to penetrate and fill the ship that eventually sank it. Number 4. USS Arizona. The famous American battleship that ignites the tension between the Japanese and American government. It was built for the US Navy and was used to sail US President Woodrow Wilson when he attended the Paris Peace Conference. It also proved its might during the Greco-Turkish War. But the sailing journey of this battleship was put into an end when it was sent to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii in 1940. It was the move of the US as a response to the growing threat of the Japanese imperialism in Asia. While on dock in Pearl Harbor, this battleship was bombed by the Japanese, causing a great explosion that led to sink the mighty US battleship and killed almost 1,177 crew members and officers. The act of the Japanese in bombing the US battleship had led to the strained relations between the two countries. Number 3. RMS Lusitania. Considered as the fastest and most luxurious ship that ever sailed the seas during its launch in 1906. It's owned by Cunard Company, and interestingly, it was the rival of White Star Line, which owned the Titanic. Both ships are considered luxurious ships during their times. In May 1915, it sank during its voyage from New York to Liverpool. The proximate cause of the sinking of the ship was the firing of a German military submarine U-20. It accidentally hit the RMS Lusitania and led to the death of many Americans. Aggrieved by this tragic incident, the United States of America entered into World War I. Number 2. RMS Republic. Labeled as the star of the billion-dollar wreck, this steam-powered ocean liner was believed to have a treasure worth billions that sank together with the ship. It has been considered as the most sophisticated ship and thought to be unsinkable. Same with its sister ship Titanic, for both ships are owned by White Star Line. It has been tagged as the millionaire ship, for most of the passengers are members of the elite class of the society. It sailed, and on January 22, 1909 from New York and bound to Gibraltar, and on the very next day while sailing on the thick fog, it sank when it collided with Lloyd Italiano liner SS Florida. To date, there were several divers that were still in search of the sunken treasure on the deteriorated ship, but it's believed that the vault that contains a billion treasure remains intact. Number 1. RMS Titanic. Another sophisticated and technologically advanced ship that has been owned by the White Star Line is the famous Titanic. The world was awed by its beauty and sophistication when it sailed in April 1912. But the world's interest was captured by James Cameron's movie Titanic. The movie itself gave us the glimpse of the actual remains and debris of the ill-fated ship. Cameron's Titanic gives the realistic visual representation of what happened to Titanic on that midnight of April 14, as supported by the Franco-American expedition that shows that the ship had been split into halves. Titanic, the ship that was thought to be unsinkable but sank after 4 days after its maiden voyage. This sea tragedy had claimed almost 1,514 lives. Alright, how are you finding these top 10 big ship crashes? Tell us in the comment section down below. We would like to know more from you. Stay tuned as the next video is starting.